The wind was strong and cold outside. Snow was falling non-stop. The sky was dark and the trees looked like ghosts. Ellie was sitting inside his small tent. He was wearing a thick jacket and gloves. His hands were near the heater. The warm light of the heater was the only thing keeping him safe. He looked at the broken radio. It made no sound. Only static. He had been alone for 3 days now. No sign of his team. No signal from the base. Only snow and silence. He checked his food. Only 2 packets left. He knew he had to move soon. But the storm was too strong. If he went outside now, he would freeze. Suddenly a sound came from outside. A soft sound. Like someone touching the tent. He froze, held his breath. The sound came again, this time a little louder. Like fingers pressing the fabric. He picked up his flashlight, turned it on. The beam of light was weak, but better than nothing. He moved slowly to the tent door. "Who's there?" he said with a strong voice. No answer. He said again, "Is anyone there?" Still. No answer. He took a deep breath, opened the zipper a little, looked outside. At first he saw nothing but snow. Then he saw here a girl. Standing in the snow. She looked lost. Her clothes were torn. Her arms were shaking. She had no shoes. Her skin was light purple, her eyes big and bright. She looked part human, but also not human. She fell to her knees. Eli did not know what to do. His heart was beating fast. Was she real? Was this a trick? But the storm was real, and she was freezing. He stepped outside, picked her up. She was so cold, like ice. He brought her inside, closed the tent fast, put a blanket around her, turned the heater closer to her. She did not speak, only looked at him. Her lips moved, but no words came. He gave her some water. She drank slowly. Her hands were shaking. She looked so tired, so weak. "Who are you?" he asked. She looked at him, spoke one word. "Kaya." "Just Kaya?" he asked. She nodded. Her eyes closed for a moment, then opened again. "Where are you from?" he asked. She looked confused, then pointed to the sky. "From the stars?" he asked. She nodded again. He could not believe it. An alien girl, here in his tent. During the worst storm of the year, he gave her some food, but she did not eat, only smelled it, and pushed it away. "Do you speak English?" he asked. She said little. Learning. He asked what happened to her. She did not answer, only said, "Bad people, labs escape." Her voice was soft, broken, like she had not spoken in days. He noticed something on her arm, a glowing mark, blue and strange. Not like any tattoo. More like a symbol moving slowly, like it was alive. "What is that?" he asked. She pulled her sleeve down, said, "Danger follows." He did not understand, but he knew. She was afraid. He gave her another blanket, told her to rest. She laid down near the heater, closed her eyes. Eli watched her, his mind full of questions. Why was she here? Was she alone? Was she dangerous then? He noticed something strange. Her skin was no longer purple. Now it looked a little human. A little like his own skin. Was she changing, or was it the light? He moved closer. Her eyes opened suddenly. They glowed blue, just for a second, then turned normal again. He stepped back. She said, "Thank you for letting me in." Nodded, said, "You looked like you needed help." She said, "You too." "What do you mean?" he asked. She closed her eyes again, said nothing. Outside, the wind was still strong, but inside the tent, it was quiet. Too quiet. Then there was another sound, a soft beeping, coming from the broken radio. Eli looked at it. The radio had not worked in days, but now it was glowing faintly, the signal light blinking. He looked at Kaya. She was asleep or pretending to be. He touched the radio. A strange sound came from it. Not static, but something else, like a whisper, a voice in a language he could not understand. He turned the knob. The voice stopped. He looked at Kaya again. She was breathing slow, like nothing had happened. But Eli felt cold again, not from the snow, but from fear. Something was coming. He could feel it, and this was just the beginning. Asterisk. She was not made for this cold, not for snow, not for hiding. She closed her eyes, but the memory stayed. Bright lights, cold tables, needles in her skin, pain, and voices calling her by a name that was never hers. Kaya. That is what she told the human. But Kaya was not a real name. It was only a sound she remembered from a song, a sound her mother used before they took her away. Now, inside this small warm tent, she felt something new, Safety Ely watched her sleep. She looked calm, but he knew something was not right. He remembered her eyes glowing. He remembered the radio blinking. Now it was silent again. No sound, no light, like nothing had happened. He stepped outside for just 1 second, needed fresh air. The storm had slowed a little, snow was still falling, but softer now. He looked around, saw nothing, just white everywhere. But he had that feeling again, like something was near. Watching, he went back and Kaya was sitting up now, looking at her hands. She rubbed them together, then held them over the heater. Not too close, just near enough. She looked at him and asked, "Why do you stay here alone?" He said, "My team is gone," she said. "Taken?" He paused. "Taken? What do you mean?" She said, "Nothing." He asked again, "You know what happened to them?" She nodded but did not explain. He opened a small box, showed her a photo, 5 humans in snow gear, smiling. One of them was Eli. "These are my friends. We came to study this planet. We were here for peace." Kaya looked at the photo, touched it gently. She pointed at one man. "This one," he screamed. Before silence came, Eli froze. That man was Carter, his best friend. He had disappeared on the first night. "Where did he go?" Eli asked. She shook her head. "Not gone, changed." "What does that mean, changed?" How she looked away, touched the mark on her arm, said nothing more. Suddenly, a sound outside, like something heavy stepping on snow. Eli stood up fast, grabbed the flashlight, turned it on, but Kaya said no light. "They see light." He turned it off quickly. They both sat still, silent. The sound came again, then stopped, just silence again, and the slow wind. Kaya whispered, "You need to move soon." "They know you helped me." Eli asked, "Who are they?" She said, "Hunters. Not human, not alien, both." He said, "Like you." She looked at him, eyes cold, said, "No, I escaped." "They obey." Eli asked, "Why are they after you? What did you do?" Kaya said, "I was born." He did not understand. "Born? Where born? How?" She looked at him and said, "In a lab, like a test. But I learned feeling, I learned choice. That was my mistake." Eli sat down, his head full of questions. Nothing made sense, yet something about her felt real. She said, "You are not like the others." "What do you mean?" he asked. She said, "Your mind is louder. Your thoughts are not simple, like theirs." He laughed a little. "I've been told, I think too much." She said, "It will save you." She stood up, her legs shaking, but stronger than before. She walked to the radio, touched it. It blinked again. Soft light, soft sound. Not static, but rhythm, like music. Eli asked, "You sent a signal?" She said, "I tried to call home, but someone else answered." He said, "Who?" She said, "The wrong ones." Then suddenly a loud knock on the tent once. Then silence. Kaya stepped back, her eyes glowing again. "Just a little," she whispered. "They found us." Eli picked up his gear, put on his gloves. "Told her we run on my signal." She nodded, held her hand near the heater, absorbed one final breath of warmth, then stood still outside. Nothing moved, but something was waiting. The cold was not the worst thing now. The real danger was coming closer, and they had very little time left. Fire, not from outside, but inside. That was her first feeling. Not pain, not fear, just heat moving in her blood, moving in her mind. A voice said, "She will burn too bright." She remembered lights, glass walls, wires in her arms, humans standing behind screens. One said, "She's stable." Another said, "For now." Then the lights broke, alarms screamed, and she ran. Oh, in the frozen dark, Kaya opened her eyes. She was inside the tent again, but Eli was not there, only the sound of wind and a slow pulse from the broken radio. She felt cold, not outside, inside, like her fire was fading. She needed heat. Not food, not water, just warmth. She reached toward the heater, her fingers glowing faint blue. She did not touch it, just held her hands above it. The heater blinked, then surged. Lights flickered, metal sizzled. She pulled the heat from it, pulled until the coil dimmed. Then she stopped, closed her fists, held the warmth inside her body. Her eyes stopped glowing. She stood, looked around the tent, touched Eli's backpack, softly, like she was learning who he was through his things. Then the zipper moved. Eli came back and his face was red from the cold. Snow on his shoulders. He looked at the heater, then at her. It was still working, but weaker. Now he said, "It's getting worse out there." No tracks, no sign of whoever knocked last night. Kaya said, "They don't leave tracks." He looked confused. She didn't explain. Eli noticed the radio blinking again, but silent. He asked, "Why is it doing that?" She said, "It's listening now, listening." To what he asked, she looked at him, then away. Said to us. Eli sat down, opened a protein bar, offered it to her. She shook her head. He asked, "You really don't eat?" She said, "Not like you. I eat light heat memory." He laughed a little. "What does memory taste like?" She said, "Sometimes bitter, sometimes warm." She sat down near him, closer than before, like she trusted him more now. He looked at her hands. They had small glowing lines. Not tattoos, not scars, like living ink moving under her skin. He asked, "What are you?" She looked at him, not afraid, not sad, just honest. She said, "I am made from two, one who fell from stars, one who came from earth. Together, they made me to survive both worlds, but I chose neither." Eli did not understand all of it, but he felt her truth, felt her pain. He asked, "Are you dangerous?" She said, "Yes, but not to you." Then the radio blinked 3 times and beeped soft, like a warning. Kaya stood up fast, eyes glowing again. She whispered, "He is near." Who? Eli asked. She said, "The other one, the one they made before me." Eli picked up his scanner. Still no sign, nothing on the radar. He asked, "Why is he after you?" She said, "He obeys." I'd on suddenly. The heater shut off, just died, no spark, no light. Then the tent lights blinked blue light for 1 second. Then dark. Aya fell to one knee, breathing hard, like her heat was pulled from her, like something was draining her. Eli ran to her, held her up. Her skin was cold again. She whispered, "He is feeding on everything warm." Eli said, "Then we need to go." Kaya looked weak, but nodded. Said, "We need fire, we need light." He grabbed his flare gun, his coat some supplies. Kaya touched his hand. Just for a second, he felt warmth rush into his skin, like fire, but not painful. She said, "You have more light than you know." He looked at her, not sure what she meant. Then the tent wall shook just once, like something heavy brushed against it. Kaya turned, eyes full blue now, no fear, just fire. She said, "He found us, and outside in the snow, something waited with no tracks, no sound, and no warmth. Asterisk, it listens, it waits, it does not sleep. It hears their voices through metal, through wires, through the quiet between heartbeats. It was never meant to feel, but it has learned hunger, not for food, not for light, but for signals, for codes, for commands." A soft voice touched it. Once a girl with half blood and fire. She called for help. It answered, but she was not the only one who heard. Now it waits again for the moment to speak back. Eli and Kaya were running through the snow, their boots crushed deep. White layers. Wind was sharp like knives, but behind them, there was something worse. The tent was gone now, left behind like a broken shell. The last safe place. They had vanished in the storm. Kaya led the way, her hand glowing faintly, her eyes focused, like she could see through the cold. Eli was close behind, holding the flare gun, his backpack thumping on his back. "Where are we going?" he shouted over the wind shelter. She said, "Old base." Below the ice they reached a cliff edge, hidden by white mist. Kaya knelt, brushed snow away from a metal hatch. She placed her hand on it. Blue light spread from her fingers. The hatch opened with a hiss. They climbed down slowly. Cold air followed them, and the door closed behind. Inside, dark, silent, but warmer than outside. Eli turned on his flashlight, saw rusted walls, frozen pipes, old machines covered in dust. "What is this place?" he asked. Kaya said, "One of the first labs, where they learned to build us." She walked deeper into the base, her steps soft, like she had been here before. They entered a room with broken screens, a control panel, and a dead console covered in frost. Kaya placed her hand on it. Energy pulsed. The screen blinked on. Words appeared. Project Kimareli froze. He had heard that name in whispers, in redacted files. Something about mixing DN, a human and alien. He stepped closer. Read the lines. Test subject 1. Terminated test subject 2. Terminated test subject 3. Unknown test subject 4. Activate went on until test subject 7. Assigned, Eli. Vossi stepped back, heart pounding. "What is this?" he asked. "What does it mean?" Kaya turned to him, said, "You were not just sent here, you were placed." Watched, studied. Eli's breath shook. "No, I volunteered. I joined the mission. I passed every test." Kaya looked At him's soft voice, you passed because you were made to. He remembered dreams, flashes of blue rooms, echoes of strange voices. He thought they were nightmares. Now he wasn't sure. He sat down, hands on his head. Everything felt false. His name, his mission. Even his choices. The radio in the corner came to life on its own. No one touched that. A voice came through. Flat, cold, mechanical. Target located. Subject 4 and 7. Confirmed. Terminate on contact. Ely stood up fast. Kaya's glow grew stronger, her marks burning bright. He asked, "Can they see us here?" She said, "They don't need eyes. They follow the signal." The voice came again. Warning, heat source detected. Engage protocol. Kaya said, "They're already on their way." Eli grabbed gear from a locker, an old energy core, a signal jammer, a flare battery. "We can block them," he said. "If we cut the signal." Kaya nodded, but her face showed fear. "It's not just signal, it's memory. They are wired into us." Eli looked at her, then at himself. "So what do we do?" She walked to the console, opened the back panel. Inside, a glowing red chip. She said, "We destroy the receiver, but it may also cut what's left of me." Eli stepped forward. "Let me do it." Kaya looked at him, then smiled soft and sad. "You are more human than they wanted." He pulled the chip. The console went dark. The signal cut off. The radio went silent for a moment. It felt safe. Then the floor shook. Just once. Kaya whispered, "It found us anyway." Outside, the snow stopped falling, but something moved above. Something old and angry, and not alone. She is near. The warm one, the broken one, the one who chose not to obey. I was made to find her, to end her, because she remembers. I do not remember much. Only cold rooms, loud voices, pain that taught me how to survive. They fed me orders, not questions, not choice, only one goal: terminate the rogue. But something is wrong now. She glows different. She runs, she feels, and for a moment, I feel too. Eli and Kaya were running through a frozen tunnel. The lights above were flickering, old emergency bulbs. Most were dead behind them. The metal wall shook slow, heavy, like something big was coming. Kaya moved fast, faster than before, her hands leaving small blue trails. Eli followed, breathing hard, but focused. He asked, "Where does this tunnel lead?" Kaya said, "To the outer shaft, a drop tunnel. If we reach the end, we can escape through the vents." "How far?" he asked. Kaya said, "Not far enough." A loud crash behind. Something hit the tunnel wall. Hard metal bent. Sparks flew. "He is here," she whispered. Eli looked back, saw a shadow, huge, moving like smoke and steel mixed together. No face, only light where a heart should be. Eli aimed the flare gun, fired. Bright light exploded in the tunnel. The creature screamed, not with pain, but with rage. It hated the light. Kaya said, "Again, fire again." Eli fired 2 more flares, lit the space red. The hunter stepped back, but not for long. They ran again, turned a corner, found a side room, locked the door behind them. Lee leaned against the wall, breathing fast, his hands shaking. He looked at Kaya, knew him, didn't you? Kaya nodded. "He was made before me, stronger, faster, but no mind, only mission." "Can we stop him?" Eli asked. She said, "No, but we can delay him." She pulled a small disc from her suit, placed it on the wall. It blinked, started to beep, then went silent. EMP pulse. She said, "We'll block his sensors for 1 minute." "What happens after 1 minute?" Eli asked. She looked at the door, then at him. "We run again." He smiled. "Not the best plan, but better than none." They exited through a side vent, crawled through narrow metal tunnels. The air was warmer here, but not safe. Kaya said this part of the base used to be a test hall, lots of machines. Some still sleep. They reached a large chamber. Old robots stood like statues covered in ice. Some missing limbs, some still humming quietly. They walked carefully, not touching anything. Kaya stopped, pointed to a broken wall panel. Behind it, a narrow service shaft. She said, "It goes up, back to surface. Maybe 10 floors." Eli looked at it, nodded. "Let's go." She climbed first. He followed. Halfway up, the metal shook again. "He's coming." Kaya moved faster, her fingers glowing, heating the cold rungs, making sure Eli could hold on. Suddenly, the hunter appeared below, crawling like a spider, silent, fast. Eli screamed, "He's right below you." Kaya turned, held out her hand. A blue burst hit the tunnel. knocked the hunter back. He fell, hit the floor below, but got up again. No fear, no pain, just hunger. They reached the top, broke open the exit hatch, fell out into a frozen forest. Night had fallen, stars above, cold air biting. Kia collapsed on the ground, weak, energy fading. Eli helped her sit, held her close, gave her the last heat pack. She looked up at him, said, "I can't run forever," Eli said. "Then we stop running." He held up the energy core he found in the base, and the signal jammer connected them. Made a trap. If he follows, we hit him with a full pulse, cut his link, blind him. Kaya looked at him, eyes soft. "You're not like them," Eli said. "Neither are you." They stood facing the trees, waiting, breathing together, and in the distance, the sound of snow cracking under something heavy. He was 6 years old, or maybe 20. He was sitting in a chair, or maybe lying on a table. He was home, or maybe in a lab. A woman held his hand, but her face changed every second. "Mother, Dr. Stranger," she whispered, "you will forget this pain. You will forget who you are. But the fire inside you, it will wake when the signal returns." Then the room turned red. He heard screaming. He looked down at his hands. They were glowing, and then he woke up. Peely sat up fast. The fire near them was almost out. Snow still fell from the black sky. Kaya was sitting close, her face pale, her marks dim. She looked at him and said, "You saw it, didn't you?" He nodded, still breathing hard. Said, "I don't know what's real anymore." She picked up a piece of glowing stone from the fire, held it near his chest. It pulsed once. "So did his heart," she said. "That is real." Eli looked into the trees. The hunter was not here yet, but he could feel him, not through sound, but through something else, like a cord inside his head pulling tighter. He asked, "Why do I remember things I've never lived?" She said, "Because your memories are stitched, not grown." He stood angry now. "So I'm fake, just a project, a test tube soldier." Kaya stood too. "Not fake, just made for something you didn't choose." He clenched his fists. "And this hunter, is he like me?" To Kaya nodded. "Worse." He accepted it. He let them control him. I looked at the energy core in his hand. The trap was ready. But would it work? Kaya said, "Your blood speaks louder than your voice. That's how he finds you. So what do we do?" he asked. She looked at him, then at the sky. "We finish what they started, but on our own terms." Eli heard a branch snap. He turned fast. Nothing there, just snow, just night. But he knew it was time. He placed the core in the trap, connected the jammer, wired the pulse beacon. Kaya stood in the center, glowing again, this time brighter than ever before. She said, "He will come to me, but you must pull the trigger." Eli shook his head. "No, we end this together." Then the cold shifted, like the air itself was afraid. The hunter stepped into the clearing. He was bigger now, covered in frost, his eyes pure white, his arms part machine, his chest open, core burning inside like a second heart. He looked at Kaya, sighed, "One word, traitor." She stepped forward. "Not afraid," said, "I remember your name. It was Lauren, you used to sing in the dark." The hunter paused, just for a second. A glitch in his steps, like the word touched something buried. Eli aimed the trigger, waited. The trap needed to pull him closer. Kaya said, "You don't have to follow the signal." But the hunter growled loud, low, no voice. "Just code." He charged. Eli hit the trigger. A blinding pulse exploded from the beacon. The hunter screamed. His light flickered. His limbs shook. The signal link snapped, but not enough. He was still moving, still. Elva. Kaya ran to him, touched his chest. Her hand burned blue, his burned red. Eli shouted, "Kaya, stop. You'll melt your core." She said, "He needs to feel before he ends." The hunter gasped, a real sound, not code, not metal. Then he felt smoke rising from his back, core dark. Still. Kaya collapsed too. Eli caught her. She whispered, "You saw the truth. You survived it. That means you can carry it." Eli looked at the stars. They felt closer now, like they had always been watching. And deep inside, the fire in him burned steady, not made but chosen. It watched them, from the moment they landed, from the moment their boots touched frozen earth. It had seen many visitors, but none like these two. It had swallowed armies, silenced machines, buried cities under storms. But this was different. One burned from within. One remembered pain like music. Together they created something new. It had no mouth, but if it did, it would whisper. Finally, Eli opened his eyes. The sky above him was no longer black, it was gold, soft, alive. The snow around them had melted in a wide circle. Kaya was beside him, her chest rising slow but steady. Her glow dimmed now, not from weakness but from peace. He sat up, looked around. The forest was gone, in its place a field of crystal grass bending in warm wind. Where are we? He asked. Kaya opened her eyes, smiled, said not where. When Eli looked up again, saw floating structures in the distance, like cities in the sky. He stood. No pain, no cold, just calm. Kaya sat up too, said. The pulse opened a rift, not just in space, but in time. This is what comes after the war, after the signal dies. He asked, are we dead? She shook her head. No, we are seen. He felt something inside his chest, the old fire, now soft, now whole. It no longer fought him, it guided him. He heard a voice, not Kaya's, not his own, but familiar. It said, welcome Subject 7. Authorization unlocked. Memory restored. A beam of light hit the ground nearby. A shape walked out. Not a soldier, not a machine, but a child, eyes glowing, skin like Kaya's. It walked to her, touched her face. 7. Mother. Kaya froze. Eli looked at her. She looked confused. Then tears filled her eyes. She asked, is this real? The child nodded, sighed. You gave me life. In the place between. Eli asked, place between what? The child looked at him. Between past and future, between war and peace. This world was waiting for someone brave enough to burn the old one down. Eli stepped back. You mean us were just survivors? The child said, no. You are seeds. He didn't understand, but something in his chest agreed. Kaya stood, took Eli's hand, said, then let's plant something better. The child turned, pointed toward the floating city. Others are waking. The old code is broken. You are not the last, but the first. Eli asked, what do we do now? Kaya smiled, now we build. He looked out at the golden sky, at the clean light, at the peaceful world, and he finally believed it. Not the mission, not the lab, not the code, but her and him. And this, not an end, not even a beginning, something beyond that.